What's up, guys and gals? My name is Joy, and today we're going to be talking about the Shadow of War review that I'm going to review that game on and give it a score and my thoughts and opinions on the game and what I liked and disliked about the game. So obviously, Shadow of War has been a pretty hot topic before its release and obviously after its release, with gaming websites everywhere panning the game for microtransactions and honestly, I find it ironic that Mass Effect Andromeda, its microtransactions get shit. Shadow War, it gets shit. But then when you look at Destiny 2, it gets a slap on the face a little bit. It gets like a nudge, and then everything's fine. No, I'm sorry. Destiny 2 still has microtransactions, so if you're going to complain about one game having them, you need to complain about all games having them. So with that out of the way, in this stupid argument that is, I'm gonna boycott this game because people won't, it'll make a difference. No, it won't, dude. Greedy companies are gonna continue to be greedy, and that's that. They're there to make money. They're a company. So welcome to the real world. Get over it or quit gaming entirely and pick up a new hobby. Microtransactions are part of the industry now, unfortunately, and as much as we would all like them to go away, at the end of the day, they will not. So, Shadow of War. What do I think of it besides that bullshit that I just mentioned at the beginning of this video? It's not a bad game. It's a lot more improved than the first game in terms of its longevity. So the first game, you played the story of Talia and Celebrimbor, and your sole focus is pretty much what Batman does in the Batman games for WB. Get revenge or stop the bad guy, or same story that we've heard time and time again. But then after the story of the first game, which, by the way, if you haven't played the first game, it's like $20 for the complete edition. I highly recommend you do play the first game and at least give it a chance if you like Lord of the Rings. Because it's not a bad story in the first game. But there are times in the first game where it starts to weaken a bit. So an example would be at the beginning of the game it starts strong. About the middle it starts to kind of lose its fire, and then at the end it finishes okay. It's an okay story, and a lot of people gave the first game like 10 out of 10 or really high praises. I just saw it as average. I saw it as like a 5 out of 10 game. It had an okay story. It was set in Middle Earth. The nemesis system was cool. And, the two playable areas were okay. Now, in Shadow of War, when I got this game, I didn't have a lot of hope for it. Mainly because of everything I just listed with the first game. I thought the first game, again, was average. And so when I got Shadow of War, when I put money down on it to pick it up, I didn't have a lot of hope. But because Destiny 2 failed, I went in and I decided to pick it up. And sure enough, oh my god, I was surprised. I was very surprised. The story is, again, average. It's a lot better than the first game in some parts, and then in other parts, it's average. But the nemesis system, the fort sieging, all that stuff is great. And it works really well for the game. However, when you get to the end of the game, so the main story takes about 15 to 20 hours. You get to that ending, and that's your first ending. There's another ending that's also been talked about by the mass media and everybody else that you have to either grind for or pay for. It's behind some sort of paywall, they say. No, it's just you have to grind, siege missions, the fort, fort conquest missions or whatever that you. So the first 15 and 20 hours, you're basically trying to build your army. And then when you get your army, one of your companions or followers that you've recruited into your force suggests that you take a fort over, and that's how you get into the whole fort system. Then after the main story arc, after the first ending, the second half of the game, or the end game of Shadow Wars, technically starts. Basically, Sauron is sending all these attacks against your forts, and You either level up your orcs in the pits to get them stronger to defend or to attack if you lost one, and so forth. Now I completed all the stage of Shadow Wars, so I've gotten that secret ending already. I just uploaded it yesterday, which you can watch it if you don't want to spend 60 hours grinding it. But the reason I like the game isn't because of the grind. I mean, kind of. The grind's part of it. I do like the fact that the game doesn't just end after 15 to 20 hours like a lot of story games do. There's still something for me to keep playing and go back to. Like right now, I still have things I can do that I haven't finished, or clean up, or go play the vendetta missions and help out other people kill their vendetta targets and get rewarded for that. So there are things you can do in the game after the story and the secret ending as well, and I like that. I like that aspect of the game. Is that going to hold me on that game forever? No, probably not. But did Shadow of War do what I had intended it to do, which is keep me playing it until Assassin's Creed Origins, right? Because that comes out in a couple days. It comes out on the 27th of October. Today's the 15th. And I was hoping Destiny 2 would be that game that would tide me over until Shadow of War. Or, sorry, not Shadow of War, AC Origins. But it didn't. Destiny 2 had no content. It has nothing. I can safely say, if you want a game that's long and lengthy, whether it's a grind or not, and you want to look cool and feel cool and have these unique elven abilities that you didn't have in the first game, and you like Lord of the Rings, and you want a game that's, you got time to kill, right? Then Shadow of War is a game you should pick up. Should you buy the copy of the deluxe edition, the gold edition, all these other crappy editions? No, you shouldn't. I would pick up the standard version of the game, which is what I have, and that's what, $60. Pick it up, try it out. Hell, rent it from Redbox, try it out. You never know. Redbox, so you have to pay like $2 a day. So if you want to pick it up, I'd just pick it up, the standard copy, and play it. It's a good game. Does it get repetitive and boring at times? Yes, absolutely. You're killing countless orcs over and over and over and over. So yeah, it can get very monotonous and boring at times. That's when you put your controller down and walk away from the game for a few hours and go do something else. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what AC Origins does for the MMO element in the single player game. So Shadow of War has completely sold me. It has sold me, and then, okay, so if we're going to go back to loot boxes real quick before I completely end my review here. There are 3 types of loot boxes. There are the mithril copies of loot boxes, which are like light blue. They drop 4 legendary follower orcs or 4 legendary loot drops, depending on which one you pick. So you can buy 2 versions of the mithril boxes. One's that drop followers for your orcs, and the other one that drops just gear. Okay. Now, when you buy orcs off the loot box thing as well, you can also kill the orcs, and they'll drop the gear that they had. So it's up to you if you want to do that. Or you can play the game, and legendaries will pop up like candy in the game just by playing it. I've had like 5 legendaries show up just by doing pit fights with my followers. So then I'll purposely try to send like a low level one to go fight. So they do show up in the pit fights at times. Now, the other thing you can do to overwrite this system entirely, and this is just my preference, is the max level in Shadow of War is level 60. The max follower or orc level is also 60. Some people thought it was 120 for Talion. It's actually level 60. I'm level 60 on the game, and I have level 60 orcs. And that's as high as you can go. So when you get legendary gear at like 50 or 40 or whatever, a lower level than 60, it requires you to upgrade or do a challenge for it to upgrade it. If you get legendary gear at level 60, which is the max level, you don't have to upgrade it or do the challenge for it. It just drops all the perks instantly. So that's something to consider as well. Stop it. Lay down. Lucky, I'm doing a review. Stop it. Shh. Sorry, guys. Kitty's being a pain. So that's some advice to get your gear. Is I would open a bunch of boxes loot boxes or kill orcs at level 60. When you reach max level and you are pretty much uh, you don't need that way you don't need to upgrade or do the challenges for the legendary gear anymore. Hang on, Lucky. Hold on. It's like I have a child, guys. I swear. So, anyways, that's some advice. So overall, do the microtransactions affect your gameplay? Can you still get microtransactions without spending money? Yes, you can. You can earn what's called mithril in the game. It's like silver. And you can buy the standard version of that and still get legendaries and whatnot that way. Uh, the other thing you can do is buy gold, which gets you the better boxes that drops better stuff. And that's all up to you. If that's what you want to do. I don't think spending gold on the game is worth it. And you can also actually earn gold just by doing like player vendettas and the online siege mode stuff as well. So it does reward you for playing, somebody else's assault on a fort or avenging their death or whatever, which is cool. So you don't have to buy gold. But there are some negatives to this, right? There are some negatives to the game that I have. The fact is that even after all that time playing the game and all that time spent on the game, I'm still wanting more. I want more of this game. And I didn't think I'd say that, but I'm not satisfied. I'm not entirely satisfied on the content that I've had, and I want more. And I want it to be better than what I already have in this current state of content. Does that mean the DLC will live up to that? I don't know. Am I buying the DLC? Not right now. I will wait till the DLC comes out and see if the reviews for it are good and if it's worth picking up. Will the game last me another couple days until AC Origins? Probably, if I dick around on it. But it has lasted me quite a bit of time. About a week. I think a week's worth. I think it came out the 10th. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it quite a lot. And I have a lot of gear and a lot of mithril, so I can buy as many loot boxes as I want. I have like 20,000 mithril right now, and I could probably get more just by dicking around or whatever. So, is Shadow of War worth your time if you like a single player game that's got enough content or enough playability in it to keep you busy for some time? Yeah, it's a great game. If you can overlook the loot boxes. Now, again, if you can't and you refuse to buy a game based on loot boxes, then get the fuck out of the industry altogether, quit playing games, and go do something else. Because, like I said at the beginning of this video, companies are going to be companies. You have to let that go. They're not going to change it. No matter how much outcry. You've had people crying about the Creation Club for Bethesda for fucking, 12 months already or some shit like that? They haven't changed it. They don't care. Lucky! I have to pull military rank on this bitch because he won't shut the fuck up. So, at the end of the day, what is my rating for Shadow of War? I'm not going to give it an 8 out of 10 like most of the press. I'm probably going to give it a 7. Maybe even, I'd actually go a little lower than that. I'd say about 6.5 out of 10. It's an okay game, like the first, like its predecessor. But there are some things that weigh it down that I didn't like. The fact that, again, loot boxes really only matter at level 60. So if you buy anything, like IGN did a video where they bought them, they spent $100 on the game in loot boxes, and they opened them at level 15. Wait to spend all your currency, guys, at level 60. You'll thank me for it later. Also, don't open the lithium doors for the Bright Lord armor until level 60 either, and that way you won't have to do the challenge to upgrade it. So, is Shadow of War a amazing game? Is it a good game? It's a good game. I would say it's a good game. I think it's worth your time, again, if you have nothing else to play. But don't support the micros unless it's with the free currency the game gives you, just for playing the game. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick is in terms of the fort sieges, they do cost mithril as well. Some of the equipment or upgrades on the sieges themselves, like upgrading walls or catapults or whatever, they cost some mithril. I think the highest tier walls are like 7,500 mithril, which is pretty easy to get if you do a bunch of pit fights with your followers to level them. Uh, and then you get gear for that, and you can dismantle the gear. So I have all of my forts in the game currently with like the tier 3 walls at the moment, just because I did so many pit fights. Like, I can't even begin to tell you guys how many pit fights I did. I did at least over, I'd say, 200 pit fights, and my brain is still hurting from how many I just said, because it was ridiculous. I would literally have to go AFK or watch a movie to get through it. It was that bad. So that's the grinding part of the game. That's the part a lot of people don't like. That they, that or you pay money for. And like I said, if you do the online challenges every day that you get, you'll get some gold and get some loot. And so the gold will help you. If you save that up, you can eventually just skip that grind by playing the challenges while you're leveling to 60 or something. That's what I would do. Uh, but overall, I enjoy the game. I think it's fun. I think it, lived up to the low expectations I had. I didn't have really high expectations. But like the first game, it's not a whole lot better. It's still about an average score, And that's my review of Shadow War. The next video I'm gonna do is going to be Battlefront EA Beta 2, and I'm gonna give my review on that game and my overall thoughts. So far, I'm really not impressed with that game. I don't have a lot of hope for that game, but I don't really have a lot of hope for anything EA makes at the moment. But I'll go into that and I'll talk about that. We'll talk about the micros. I'm sure plenty of people already know everything under the sun about the microtransactions in that game. But if you've seen Angry Joe's video on the micros in that game, and if you've seen other content creators' videos, then you know exactly where I'm going to go with it. Pretty much, you can't upgrade your shit without the loot boxes in that game, which really just kind of sucks. Whatever happened to playing a game with a certain weapon and then like unlocking a challenge that allowed you to upgrade it, or just playing the game. So there's that. And I mean, I guess that could be argued for Shadow of War as well, but you guys gotta realize too, Shadow of War is primarily a single player game. So the fact is that even those loot boxes in Shadow of War, I've opened up, I would say, over 50 loot boxes in Shadow of War, and not all of them, I mean, they're not really worth opening to begin with, because a lot of the gear is the same shit over and over. And that's really all I gotta say on that. So, if you're gonna buy loot boxes in Shadow of War, I would just wait till the end. Wait till after Shadow Wars if you decide to grind that out. Wait till level 60. Make it worth your time and your effort. And so that way you get the most out of the boxes. But next video will be Battlefront 2 EA's beta review. And then hopefully, in a couple days, we'll have some Assassin's Creed footage. I will be playing the game on hard, just like I did with Shadow of War. I'll be playing it on the hardest difficulty all the way through, even the end game stuff. So if you want to watch that, you guys can check out my stream. I'll just link it below if you want to check it out. But I will be streaming that game as well. So with that said, that's my review of Shadow War. Thank you all for watching. Again, it's a 7 out of 5, 6.5 out of 10. And that's really all I can say. It's an average game. It's better than the first one, but only by a little bit. There are some things that hold it back though. But it's still good if you like a game that's going to keep you invested. I would say longer than Destiny 2. For a single player game, that's exactly what it did. It kept me playing for over a week. So there you go. That's a lot better than Destiny 2, because I beat Destiny 2 in like 2 days. So with that said though, guys, my name's been Joy. Have a good one. Take care.